Before Hurricane Ida weakened to a tropical storm, it slashed through highly populated areas in Louisiana. Wind gusts in Baton Rouge topped 60 miles an hour overnight. Janet Shamlian is there. Good morning, Janet.
Michelle, good morning to you. We are under a tropical storm warning right now. We've got wind and intermittent rain, and about half of this city is without power. Because the storm moved through here much later than it did New Orleans, under the cover of darkness, though, we really won't know the full extent of the damage here until crews are out to get into neighborhoods in the next hour or two.
Janet, you covered Hurricane Katrina 16 years ago to the day. How does this compare?
So Hurricane Katrina came through New Orleans. It came on shore as a very strong tropical, a Category 3 hurricane. But it wasn't the landfall that was so devastating. It was the aftermath. It was the floodgates and the levees that were breached in New Orleans and elsewhere, inundating 80% of the city of New Orleans with water. And when you talk about the death toll, we still don't have an exact number on that, but the estimates are 1,800 people died during Hurricane Katrina. We do know that tens of thousands of people lost their homes. Some 400,000 left the city never to return. And in the aftermath, everything changed. I mean, the levees were rebuilt, the pumps, the seawalls, the floodgates, all to withstand as much as 30 feet of water. What hasn't changed is the power grid, and we're seeing this morning basically all of New Orleans without power. And again, here in Baton Rouge, about half of the city without power.
Yeah, $125 billion in damage, 1,800 lives, colossal failure of the levees system, but a lot of people pointed fingers at the leadership, both at the local, state, and federal level. Do you feel as though, or do you see a better preparation this time around?
Well, I think it all comes down to having a partnership between the federal government, led by the Army Corps of Engineers, to completely redo that system. I mean, it was antiquated, and it was never going to be able to cover a storm of that size. Do people take hurricanes more seriously now in New Orleans and surrounding areas? Absolutely. I was driving east on Interstate 10 while everybody was going the opposite direction towards Texas, and it looked like a parking lot for about an hour and a half because of people leaving. And we saw people leaving in advance of Hurricane Katrina, but nothing like I saw 2 days ago now.
Yes, I know. Thank you, Janet. So many of us remember
very vividly
the days during the storm, and I say it wasn't just the storm that hit, but the levee failures the next day, and then the weeks that followed, the evacuation of so many people to Houston and elsewhere.
Who still haven't, some of those people still have never returned to New Orleans, which I also find interesting. I saw a story yesterday in the Ninth Ward that it's now less than 40% of the people that used to live there. They still haven't recovered, but they seem to have learned some lessons that prevented
and the federal government
devastation this time.
I mean, it's hard to remember, but like the FEMA director when Katrina hit, Michael Brown had no experience in disasters. Congress actually passed a law after that said you got to have disaster experience if you're going to run FEMA. Now they're putting things in place ahead of time. Also interesting, during Katrina, they said to the public, don't go out and try to rescue people. Now we've got Team Rubicon, we've got the Cajun Navy, we've got all these Good Samaritans who are making a real difference and supporting those first responders. So it's a whole different ballgame.
Different ballgame, but still a lot of work to do down there in Louisiana. Some of you are leaving us right now. For the rest of you, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back with more from Louisiana as our coverage of Hurricane Ida continues. You're watching CBS This Morning.